Agriculture is supposed to be 7, right?
Oh, they already have them. Your essential question, so the big question we're answering today is how do I properly label shapes so I can use formulas to find the surface area and volume. If you cannot label a shape properly, you won't be able to use a formula properly. The hardest part about this is using your formulas and knowing what letters to plug in where. There are some new letters in these formulas that we haven't used before. We're used to base and height and length and width and radius, but there's a few new ones. Alright, so for a cone, this says find the volume. So we use our formula sheet. We find the shape that has a circle on the bottom and comes to a point at the top. This is a cone. It is different than a cylinder because a cylinder has 2 sides that have circles on it. A cone only has 1. Think about an ice cream cone. Your formula for the volume of a cone is the one that starts with V. V equals 1/3 pi r squared h. On your notes, this should be a 4. It got cut off. So if we look at this, there is a line that goes from one side of the circle to the other. There's an arrow that points at that and says 4. Is 4 the radius or the diameter? 4 is going to be your diameter since it goes from one side to the other. If a line goes all the way across, that's a diameter. Even if it's only pointing to half of it, that represents the diameter. Your radius only goes from the center out. So what's your radius here if your diameter is 4? 2. The height of any shape is a perpendicular distance from the base to the side opposite that. So your height is always perpendicular to the base. What's your height? Okay. Once you have your base and height, you just plug it in. Volume equals 1/3 times 3.14 times your radius squared times your height. So 1 divided by 3 times 3.14 times 2 squared times 6. What is it?
Wait, I just have a question.
Okay, what's the question?
So you would do the pi r squared and then multiply by the height, at which point then you would divide by 3.
Yeah, so you can do it that way. That's fine. The quick way, I don't know if it's faster, but you can just read it from left to right and don't hit equals. 1 divided by 3 times 3.14 times 2 squared times 6. And I've typed all of this in order using the square button for the 2 squared. Now I can hit equals.
Does it do the order of operations for you?
Your calculator will do the order of operations as long as you do things correctly. So like you have to plug it in, do it from left to right. You could also do 3.14 times 2 squared times 6 and take that number and divide by 3. You'll get the same answer. You can do 2 squared first because you're comfortable with that, then times 6, then times 3.14, then divide by 3. It's all the same. Because multiplication is commutative, which means you can change the order that you multiply things in. Alright, surface area. Again, we're using the cone. This cone is upside down, but it's the same formula. SA stands for surface area. Surface area equals pi r squared plus pi rl. L is one of those new variables, so let's start with radius. What's your radius? Your radius is 3. L stands for slant height. Uh-huh.
No. 7.6.
Slant height is your slanted height. It's the height that is slanted when it goes down. Is this 7.6?
Yeah.
It was cut off?
Yeah.
All right, if it was hole punched out, yeah, mine said 6 too. It was hole punched out. So rewrite that as 7.6 because of the hole punch. So your slant height is that height that is slanted. It is not perpendicular. It is on a slant or a diagonal. So your slant height is 7.6. And then we just plug this in again. 3.14 times your radius squared. Remember, the order of operations says you square your radius first, and then you multiply by 3.14. You do not do 3.14 times 3, get an answer, and then square it. That's wrong. You have to do squaring first, which is why you can just do 3.14 times 3 squared in your calculator, because your calculator finds that as 9 first and then does your multiplication. So 3.14 times 3 squared plus 3.14 times your radius again times your slant height. Pi r squared plus pi r L. L is the slant height, not the length.
Wait, so why are you using 3 again after we're using it one time?
Because there is an r in your formula twice, just like your surface area formula for a cylinder. There's 2 pi r squared and 2 pi r h. Use r twice. Okay, so this problem now, you can again do it in your calculator all across, but I like to pause anytime there's an addition sign. So 3.14 times 3 squared is 28.26 plus 3.14 times 3 times 7.6. This side is 71.592. Sorry. 71.592 plus 28.26 equals, this is what you guys got? Oh, okay. I just didn't remember that being the answer. So, volume is meters cubed because you're filling up a space with 3D cubes. Surface area is meters squared because you're wrapping around just the 2D surface of the outside. Okay? Alright. Pyramids. Pyramids are similar to a cone, but their base is a square or a rectangle, which means their sides are triangles, so we have all polygons, not a weird curved surface. So your volume formula is 1/3 the area of the base times the height. Volume equals 1/3 big B times H. That's a very good question. Big B is on 3D figures. So big B is this part of your pyramid in our triangular prism formula, which we don't learn anymore. Volume is just big B times H, is the area of the triangular base. You could rewrite this formula as volume equals 1/3 big B times H, because the area of your base is pi r squared. It is a circle. You could rewrite this as volume equals pi times the area of the base. Oh, sorry. The area of the base times the height, because pi r squared is the base. So big B is the area of the base. It's different than little b, which is the length of your base in a 2D shape. This is the length of the base in a 2D shape. This is the length of one of the bases in the 2D shape. But big B stands for area. So, to find this, what shape is the base? A rectangle, because we have different side lengths, 6 and 8. How do we find that area?
6 times 8.
Length times width, 6 times 8, what's that?
48.
Okay, so big B, the area of our base is 48 feet squared. What's the height? 7. Remember, your height is always perpendicular to your base. Volume equals 1/3 the area of the base times the height. I realize you guys are doing a lot of this work in your calculator when you solve these problems, but you have to write down your formula with numbers plugged in. The minimal work I need to see is right here. Your formula and all the numbers you plug in. Because if I can't see that, I don't know where you're going wrong and I can't help you fix it. So 1 divided by 3 times 48 times 7 equals 112 feet cubed. Alright, last one. This is the surface area. The surface area formula from your formula sheet is 1/2 LP plus big B. We learned big B from last time. It's going to be the area of the base. What's the area of this base? 49. 7 times 7 is 49. We learned what L is up here. What's L? The slant height, the slanted part. And our new letter is P. P stands for the perimeter of the base.
28.
So our perimeter is 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7. There's 7 on all sides. Plug it in. What'd you guys get? Perfect. Something I want to point out, when you're finding the surface area, you're adding up all of the sides. So you have a square, you find the area of that square, that's big B. You have 4 triangles. 1/2, 5 times 3, 5.3 times 7, that's the area of one triangle. You multiply it by 4, you get 4 triangles. So you don't need this formula. This formula is just adding the base, and this part is all the triangles. 1/2 L is the height of the triangle, and then P is the perimeter or all of the bases of the triangle, of each triangle. So this part is all 4 triangles plus the area of the base. That's where you get your surface area formula. So if you didn't want to include the base, then you just do 1/2 LP. Sometimes it'll say, what's the area of this shape, not including the base. And you would just do this part of the formula that doesn't have the base. Okay, so on the back, you guys try this one on your own. When you finish this one, try these two. This one, you have to add the area of a cylinder to the area of a cone, or sorry, the volume. This one, you have to find the area of the rectangular prism and subtract the part that's being removed, which is a cylinder. So this one you're adding, this one you're subtracting. Okay? So try those. I'm going to come around and check your answers.
Wait, so we do all 3 of these?
Yeah, you're doing all 3 problems. Okay. Yeah, this is big B, which stands for area of the base, not little b, which stands for length of the base. So big B, 7 times 7 is 49. You need to write your name on here and the date. .67 is fine. You can do .6 repeating if you want. Oh, there's a good. Do these two. Yeah, round to the hundredths, please. Yeah, do the next two.